Okay, there's the recording. Alrighty, so it looks like we have,
People joining.
yes.
See some familiar names. Oh no, not Lynn.
I think we should give Lynn access to the microphone. She can join us.
Yeah, I'll do that.
No, well, it's to Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. Oh, she can't talk, so she can't say hi.
It's okay. Just give it a couple more minutes, I guess, and then we'll see who arrives.
Yeah.
Okay, she's on the panel. Just in case you need the microphone, Lynn.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Hey.
Yeah.
I see James Andrews. Hi, James. Just give us a wave. I know you can't talk. All right, so we'll give it about 2 more minutes. We'll go ahead and get started.
That's good. And I want to apologize if I stop or sound a little off. Finally got sick. Woohoo!
It was James first, then me, now you. So
It's going around.
In the rounds.
Have you
Chris-
done one of those tests? Do you have the flu?
I don't know. Honestly, it's been lingering. It's been lingering around and it finally got me. Whatever it is. It does seem fluish, body aches.
James
So
Andrews was off the other week as well, so we've all had it.
Yeah, I had one of those in January too, and I did one of those tests that tests for flu A, flu B, and COVID, and it came up negative. So it was a common cold.
I should look into them. Oh yeah, no. I was telling James, I'm like, do I sound normal? I want to make sure I don't sound awful.
You sound better than yesterday.
I'm fine.
You do sound normal. You sound fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or-
Eat your medicine.
All right, so we'll give it 1 more minute. I see a lot of new faces.
Good. We sent out a lot of emails. Well, I was spamming people.
We really did. Yeah, and then
Mm.
there was the post on Sugar Club, and then also in the Sugar Market discussion session on Sugar Club as well. So
We also have all them people that register but just want the recording. We know who you are.
Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you that are new to these sessions, thank you so much and welcome. Those that are returning, we really appreciate you. My name is Shara Rouse. I am the enablement manager here at Sugar U. This is one of many webinars for Sugar Market Academy, or for Sugar Market itself, presented by myself and the Sugar Market team. So we would like participation. Definitely ask questions. You can utilize the Q&A. Because this is a Zoom webinar, chat is there, but the functionality does not work. So go ahead and type any of your questions into Q&A, and we'll try to get to them throughout the webinar. But if we don't get a chance to get to them during the webinar, we will definitely allow you to open up your mics and ask questions at the very end. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Veri. Today we'll be discussing mastering sugar market administration. So Veri, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shara. Hi, everyone. I see some familiar names for the participants, so welcome. So as Shara mentioned, today we are going to go over mastering sugar market administration. Now, our agenda, as you've heard, and Shara and me, and James is also here to answer questions as well and chime in. But today we're going to go over what it is about being a sugar market admin, and then just things that as an admin, you should know and you have access to. So user administration, marketing administration, CRM administration, and then our global settings. We will also go over some tips as an admin and then provide you with some additional resources. Okay. And as you guys, some of you guys have been in our webinars before, you guys know that we switch from the presentation over to Sugar Market, just kind of guide you where you would go to see these things. And again, please just ask any questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them. So there we are. Okay, so starting off with our Sugar Market admin. So you do have, as an admin, you do have all the power to control a lot of things. You're the super user. So Sugar Market, any Sugar Market user with an admin navigation access, you have the most permissions in the system. It allows you to create and manage roles, user accounts, including permissions. You have access to everything, okay? Admin users can create access admin users can access marketing administration areas as well as the CRM administration areas. If you don't have that specific role, you're not going to be able to access that. So just keep that in mind. And you also have the ability to check your current mailable database size. Now, this is important to keep in mind as you're adding new records into the system. You want to make sure that you're below your database size. Okay. Now, with that, let me jump over and share where you would be able to find these things.
One thing just to mention as well, when you say CRM administration with Sugar Market in here, we're talking about the database inside Sugar Market. All the changes you do in there will not affect anything inside Sugar CRM or your CRM on there. It's literally inside Sugar Market itself.
Correct. Thank you for clarifying that. So to access your admin menu, you'd go over here. So obviously everybody's familiar with the Sugar Market view. You go over to your Sugar user menu on the top right-hand corner. And once you click on that, you do have that option for admin. Now, again, if you have, let's say, the marketing navigation access or anything of that sort, you're not going to see that. But as long as you have that admin navigation, you'll be able to see this little guy over here. Okay. This is what I was mentioning. You can see the Sugar Market subscription size. So you'll be able to see this. And if you ever need to reach out to the team, hey, I need to purchase additional contacts, increase my database size, you can definitely do that. Or you can talk to your customer success manager and they'll be able to work with you for that. Okay. Now switching back, and you guys should be able to see my presentation again. And if not, please let me know. Jumping over to our user administration, right? So let's look over at the users and role management. So for roles, you'll see whenever you have your instance, you'll see that Market has some standard roles that are created by default. These would be your admin navigation, which again has the highest access to everything in the system. You have your marketing navigation. Now it's going to be very similar. However, it's not going to have the Sugar Market CRM admin access. So it's a little bit less than that. The sales navigation role, that's going to be one of the most restrictive roles that we have. You can only see a few things in Market. You don't typically get to mess around or create things. We also have a GDPR role. It obviously helps meet with GDPR regulations. So that one's just standard in there. And then you also have your customer journey or iframe. They might be labeled differently. They work the same way. And now this is for your CRM connection. This allows users in CRM see the marketing activities in CRM. So it's essentially like a little window into Sugar Market that you have. For users, just know that users can belong to multiple roles. You don't have to just stick with the admin role or the marketing navigation role. You can belong to many roles. The one that has the most access is going to be the one that takes precedence over the other ones. So if I had admin navigation and marketing navigation, I'll have access to everything because I do have that marketing navigation, that admin navigation permissions. Okay. Now, as for users, just one thing to note, Sugar Market does not charge by license of users. You can create as many users as you need. Okay, so that's the great thing about it. One thing to note is that all users that are in CRM are going to sync down to Sugar Market after you do your initial sync. If you add additional users in CRM, they're going to appear in Market as well. Now, one thing to note is that this does not give those users access to Sugar Market. Okay. They will appear in there, but they will not have access to Sugar Market unless you allow them to have access. And you get to send them a password reset, and then they can have access into the system.
And their username in Sugar Market will be their same username as they have for CRM as well. So really you'd manage, the best place to manage users for both systems obviously is inside CRM, and that will reflect in Sugar Market. You'd only manage users in Sugar Market really if you only want to have a user in Sugar Market.
Correct.
And one other point is that the password does not sync. So sometimes users expect to use the same CRM password in Sugar Market, and that's not the case. They'll be separate unless you actually update them to be the same.
Of course. Thank you. Another thing to note, a user must have a unique email address. You can't have duplicates. If you happen to have 2 users with the same email address, you're going to have a hard time trying to get that password reset. So just make sure that everybody has a unique email address. And another thing is new users are not automatically added to any roles. You actually have to select where they, what role they belong to. Okay. So jumping back to our to Sugar Market, you'll see here under we're still under administration view. Under this first section, we'll have user administration. And these are the areas that you're going to be looking at. Geos and lists are really, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Legacy feature, really. Use with our legacy form builder.
Correct. So don't worry about that. But this is going to be where you focus on. Okay. Now we're going to go into roles first. Now for this one, you'll see that we have more than our standard roles. That's another great thing about Sugar Market. Being an admin, you can actually create different roles. If I go over to, the marketing navigation one, you'll see once I click on it, you'll have all these options available. You can edit, you can add all users to that role. You can delete or duplicate the role. I can also double click in here and be able to go into that specific role. Now, you do have 2 options here. Obviously, you can adjust the role name and the description, and you'll have data access and navigation access. Now, data access is going to control what records the person can see. If it's checked, then it means that everyone in that role can see the record assigned to everybody else in that role. If it's unchecked like this one, excuse me, the user can only see the records that are assigned to themselves and nothing else. As you can see for this one, because it's a standard role that came with it, I can't click on it. If I wanted to adjust it, I would have to duplicate this, and then I have the ability to enable this.
That's my top tip that I go through with customers. Copy this one over, rename it to company A marketing team, and then you can adjust it as you need to. It's not locked down like the default marketing navigation.
Defaults are always going to be locked down. As you can see, I can't click on them, but if you duplicate, great, you're going to be able to adjust it as needed. Now, as far as navigation access, this permission makes this role that it limits people's navigations, right? If you don't have a check, then you can use this just as a grouping of people. They don't have access to anything else. You could just group them. You do have, if this is enabled, as it is here, you will have a little tab over here for navigation access, and you'll be able to see all of the access that is provided and denied. Again, if you want to adjust it, you can copy this over and adjust what people can see. We do have resources in our knowledge base that describe what these are, because as you can see here, there are multiple options, access that you can give to people. Other things to note, in any of the roles, you'll be able to see the users, you'll be able to see users that are assigned to the role. You can select them and remove the user from there. Or if you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to assign users to this role. So if they're not in this area, you'll be able to add them in here. So you can add the user in there. Okay. anything to add, James or Lynn? I might have.
I did have one thing to add about users with duplicate email addresses. It will not only affect password reset, but it can also affect iframe access. And you might think that if a user is inactive, that it wouldn't matter, but because the email address is duplicated, Sugar Market and of course the integration related to the iframe, it doesn't know which user to use. So it can cause conflicts with both of those things. So if at all possible, try and avoid duplicate email addresses. And if you do wind up with that situation, by all means, contact Sugar Support and we'll help you out.
And can you click on iframe for me as well, please?
Yeah.
Because we can go and look at the actual navigation access required for the iframe to appear in
Yeah.
CRM. So obviously we can remove options in here. So CRM having the contact journey make sure it appears inside CRM for all the users. I would say add all users to this role in here means all users in CRM will have access to the data in the iframe and the contact journey inside CRM. But then you see the other options in here. Do you want to allow those users in CRM to add people to nurtures, to add or remove them from lists on here, to create emails, send single emails on there, and also again, I don't know why nurture architecture is in there. Is that needed?
Yeah, it is. It's one of those.
Yeah, a part of the nurture one as well now. But again, it gives you the option to say, actually, I don't want them to allow them to add people to nurtures or lists or send emails. You can remove those features as well, because maybe you don't want salespeople doing that CRM.
Yeah.
But this is something we've set up for new customers early doors, but obviously during onboarding on there. But again, it's good to see how we set this up in the platform.
Yeah, of course. And as you can see here, this one, I think it was updated because we do have like this enabled data access and navigation access. So you'd be able to do that. One thing to note is if you wanted to add, because it doesn't add people automatically to the iframe role, so new users coming down, syncing down from CRM, all you have to do is click on the iframe or contact journey, whatever it might be labeled in your instance as, and then add all users. And I also wanted to share with everyone what exactly does that iframe look like in case you guys don't know what it looks like. Give me 1 second. Multiple screens, and people that know me know that I live with multiple screens on my computer all the time. So you in CRM and Sugar CRM, obviously you'll have this view in Sugar Market button, and that is what the iframe, the contact journey, looks like. So this is what we were referring to, like removing those permissions to add them to list, to add them to nurtures, or send an email. So just in case you guys didn't know what it looked like, that is what it is. Okay. Now jumping on to users, as I mentioned, all of the users that are in CRM in your CRM are going to sync down into Market. Again, that does not mean that you have that you're giving them access. These can be used for when you're sending out an email and you want to personalize it. So, if someone's assigned to Greg, Greg's email is going to pop up in there. His name, all of that. You can use merge tags to populate that information. So pretty much that's the reason. If you wanted to give someone access, what you have to do is just click on the user, and you go over to the context menu up here, and you're able to send a password reset. They'll get an email. It's going to allow them to update their password for Sugar Market. As Lynn mentioned, the passwords do not sync down. And so you're going to be able to set up that password for them. Okay. As we mentioned, like new users are not automatically added to roles. So if you were to create a brand new user, you click on that create button. You would just add their first name, last name, their username, their email, and then you get to select their role that they get. So their default role. Okay. And I'm so sorry for picking on Greg, but if we click on Greg, you will be able to go into their profile. You're able to fill out any information in here that you may want to add. Again, if you want to have their signature pop up, all of this is going to come up on that email using those merge tags. One thing to always, just in general, make sure that you update your time zone, and all users update their time zone. So you can do that here. And you can also see the roles that this particular user is in. So we have them as admin navigation, but if we wanted to add any additional roles, we can go over to add new and then add them to any additional roles that we want.
So a
Okay.
user can be on more than one role, and it just means they're then sharing content with those other roles in here. So instead of it just sharing it with admins, Greg on here would now be sharing his content with admins and marketing team on there.
Correct.
But
So
also all the tabs in here, a lot of them you would probably change and edit in CRM. Okay, you wouldn't really need to edit any of these in here, social profiles, territories, options, things like that in here. You do all those changes inside CRM with your users.
yeah. And yeah, absolutely. If you were to set up this information in CRM, this is going to sync down. If you were to just create them here in Sugar Market, that's where you can go in there and adjust any information you want for this. Okay. Any questions so far? Is this no? Great. Okay, let me switch over back to the presentation. Hold on. Okay. So, jumping over to our marketing administration. So key areas to review. So as you guys know, there are obviously lots of places in Sugar Market that you can see, but here are some key areas that you guys may want to review. So in the marketing administration section, you do have your bounced email administration. Now, what this is great for is that you can check to see the history of bounce records for both soft and hard bounces. So you'll be able to see that in there. Now, to be honest, this doesn't need to be constantly monitored, as you'll be able to see this information in each email dashboard, but it is the hub for all of your bounces. So you can go in there and just see them all. But every email will have their own little section for email bounces. Okay. The next thing that you may use from here is the external form connector. Now, with the external form connector, and some of you guys may be familiar with this, this feature is only used when you're trying to connect a third-party web form to Sugar Market over the native Sugar Market builder. So you can see that. Then you can also see the unsubscribed contacts and leads. Now, this is going to be the area that houses all of your unsubscribed leads and contacts after they've globally unsubscribed. Obviously, again, in each email dashboard, once people unsubscribe, there's a little section. You can see that, but this is going to be housing all of them. You will also be able to see and create suppression lists. Now, suppression lists allow you to control who can interact with your marketing efforts. It can prevent particular domains from receiving your marketing emails, which is a great thing. If you have a competitor and you want to suppress that, you can certainly add them in there. Okay. So jumping over to Sugar Market again, we are going to go back to the user menu up here. We're going to go over to admin. And then under administrator, you'll see marketing administration. And again, you'll see all of these options in here. And the ones that I put on the presentation are really the key areas that you'll focus on. A lot of these, and James, you can chime in, but a lot of these are going to be legacy.
Yeah, I've been using the system for a long time, and a lot of these features in here are now legacy features. Account alert, alias accounts, alias web keywords, things like that in here. Entry and exit alerts on there, no longer needed. So very well focus on the items that are required. You can actually remove some of these items from the roles and permissions based on what you saw earlier through the navigation. So you can actually remove these features if you say, let's remove them because they're old and getting in the way.
Yeah.
We just have everything in our sandbox. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do, which is why we like to go and test things out. But going into the ones that I've mentioned, here you have your bounced email administration. So you'll be able to go in there and see everybody that has bounced. Again, this is soft and hard bounces, and it's going to give you the delivery status. So you'll be able to see that in here. Again, every email dashboard has, the records for that particular email, but this is kind of like the hub for all of them. Okay. The next one over is going to be your external form connector. Again, this feature is just available if you guys want to do a third-party web form. You'd have to connect that in there. Unsubscribe contacts and leads. This is not going to look any nice, like not pretty or anything like that. It's just the emails, what campaign they unsubscribe from, the status, although it says active, it just means that, hey, they are in this list. Okay. One thing to note, after obviously people get added to this after they've globally unsubscribed. But one thing to note is people cannot be removed from here unless that individual resubscribes themselves or you send them a resubscribed email from their leader contact card. Okay. You're not allowed to delete them from here. Once they've unsubscribed, they're unsubscribed there unless they resubscribe themselves. Okay.
And you can import records into them. I think it's 5,000 per import. So if you have a lot of records to import in, and we see this a lot during onboarding and implementation of SugarMarket. But yeah, you can import records into the unsubscribe on there.
Yeah, that you can do. And then last option here is going to be your suppression list. Now, suppression list, like I mentioned, you can say, hey, I don't want, my competitor with specific domain to be able to receive my emails. So you can create a new list. I'm just going to go into this one that I've already created. It's going to take a minute. You're just going to go ahead and say, hey, email suppression. You're going to add their domain in here. So acme.com. I went ahead and added them. If we happen to have anyone in the system with that at acme.com, it's not going to be sending the email to that. Okay, perfect. So that is going to be your marketing administration. And I'm just going to jump back in here. You do have another tab in here, your general tab. Again, a lot of the things that you see here, you may not ever access. The one that I will point out here is your web analytics categories. If you need to grab your web tracking code that is on the website, you can come in here and grab that. All you have to do is go over to script and it will, give you that script to add to your website. But other than that, you don't really check anything.
There are a few other things, I guess, in there, such as job status. So there's certain jobs running, like reports and things in the back of the system. I think customer logs just shows you who's logging in and out of the platform on there. But yeah, you can see job status of who's uploaded the contact in here, etc.
It will also show if you've done like a mass update, you'll see that in the job status.
Oh, perfect.
It's kind of like an audit path, kind of in the system.
So you'll have that. Okay, so jumping on to the next section, which again, CRM administration, and this is really for just the market, only for SugarMarket CRM. What you'll see here, again, we have a lot of things in there, but key areas to focus on: field definition. This area is going to show you all different tables, accounts, events, leads, and contacts. We have a whole bunch of other ones. And in each, it's going to show you every single field that you have in that table in SugarMarket. Fields from CRM are going to be syncing down to market and can be viewed in here. So anything that you have, any custom fields that you have will be able to be shown here. You also can create fields in SugarMarket, and they will only live in SugarMarket. They're not going to sync up to CRM if they only exist in Market. So keep that in mind. You also have the area for external connectors. This is going to be your sync connector screen to your CRM. And this area is going to allow you to update or adjust any sync settings or even the sync's user's credentials. And the last area in here now is going to be your data. Now, this area is typically not used, but it does have some helpful features. I always like to say, please be careful when using this particular area. And we recommend that you talk to your sugar rep prior to using them. If you are thinking of using it, reach out to support or your marketing person, or your customer success manager before you do that, because once you do it, you can't take it back. So you have two in there: mass delete contacts by report. You're able to create a report in Market of specific records and mass delete them from the system. Again, once this is done, you can't take it back unless there's a magical way that I don't know about, Lynn, but as far as I know, once it's done, it's done.
It really is done. Even though records are soft deleted, there's other things that happen in that process. When you mass delete records, it removes records from any kind of distribution list that they might be in. It removes them from nurtures that they might have been in. So yeah, there's no takebacks. Once they're deleted, they're really gone. Oh, the other thing that happens when records are deleted is that if they have synced from CRM, the ID gets removed. That way, that prevents duplicate IDs in the system, so that it's possible for those records to sync back in if intended from CRM. So yeah, for all of those reasons, once a mass delete is run, it is permanent.
Yeah, so be warned.
Talk to us, shout for somebody, shout for anybody at Sugar. Yeah, do that before clicking on anything to do with mass updating and mass deleting. We do recommend, again, if you're doing any mass deleting or mass updating, do it on the CRM side. And again, make sure that modified date updates as well. If you're doing updates on the CRM side, to make sure that reflects then in Sugar Market, because what will happen is if you do mass deletes and mass updates in Market, it's not going to touch any of the data in CRM, and those records can just come back in, or they'll be updated again. So yeah, CRM is really the master when it comes to the database.
So yeah, no, mass updates, again, you are able to mass update all records in the system by report. You can do it by report, or there's a little option I'll show you guys, where you can update all of them, but use caution. Just be very careful when you're using this. And as James mentioned, any of this should really be done from CRM down to Market, but you do have those options available in Market if absolutely needed. Okay.
If I could add a note, sometimes when customers are trying to do mass deletes, it's, to keep their record count down. And, as James and Viri have both said, CRM is the master. So any kind of data cleanup is normally done in CRM. But there are occasions where records exist only in Sugar Market. And, and you do wish to do that, for example, if recipients are not engaging with your marketing efforts.
And we can run a report with, find records with no CRM ID, for example, on there.
Yep.
And we can remove any records that are only in Market that are not both in CRM and Market as well, things like that. So there are ways of using it. Yeah, definitely.
But I did want to note that if you delete a record and that somehow winds up back in your system, they fill out a form, they re-engage with your marketing efforts, you have not lost the journey information. So when records are deleted, mass deleted, or individually deleted, or what have you, their contact records are deleted, but if they re-engage, you have not lost that contact journey information. So that's sometimes a good thing to realize.
Perfect. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, so just kind of showing you where these things that we just chatted about are. So still in our admin view, you're going to see down here CRM administration. You'll see the field definitions. Again, we have for all of them. If you double click into them, you'll be able to see all of these fields that you have, not only in Sugar Market, but the ones that are syncing down from CRM. Most of the ones that are coming down from CRM are going to have that C because they're custom fields. So you'll be able to see those in here. Okay.
And we do, under our integration documentation, have our hard mappings guides. You can see which ones are hard mapped, and really anything you see in here that does have an _C will be a custom field that's synced down from the lead or contact table in CRM.
So that's going to be your field definitions. Your external connectors. Now, obviously, depending on your CRM, this will look different. For us, we have our Sugar CRM connected here. So you'll be able to click in here. And again, this is going to be your sync connector screen. Things that you'll see here is going to be your sync status. So you'll be able to see if it's active, if it's inactive, and when the last successful sync was. So if you're ever curious and you think that there might be something wrong, please make sure to check in here for that. You will also have your sync settings. Now, this particular area, I always tell people like, you don't need to change anything after you've started your sync, unless the only time that you come in here and change anything in here is if that CRM syncing user changes the username or password. That is going to be, what's helping the systems talk to each other. So if that password has changed, you need to come in here and update that password, do the test login, and save connection information. So make sure to do that. Other things that you can find here, and I'm not going to go into detail because that's another session. But your additional sync settings, you'll be able to, again, as an admin, you do have access to this area where you can set up what you want to sync from, your CRM down to market. So those are going to be the things that you get to see in here. And lastly, on this area is going to be your data. Again, please use caution. You're going to be able to mass delete contacts by report. You have to have specific reports created, and they will appear in here. You'll do a preview and then have this in here, and then click that button of submit mass deletion. Again, be careful with that. And the other one is going to be your mass update contacts. Again, you could do it by report, or you can update all contacts just entirely in your database. Okay. So those are going to be the couple options that you have under the CRM administration area.
Very, can I interrupt you one more time? Can you go back to the data tab and your mass update contacts? I just posted last month to Sugar Club. One of the cases where this comes in handy is if you have updated a scoring profile or you've created a new scoring profile and you want to apply that to all of the records. So the way you could very easily do that would be to update all contacts. And then once you check mark that box, you can see that you'll be able to select a specific column or field to update. So the SF score would be the field in question. There you go. And the value would be -1. It's not exactly user-friendly, but it works. So there is a topic on that in Sugar Club. And I think we're going to get that into our documentation as well. So in case that's handy for anybody, there's a quick tip.
Thank you. And yes, I read that article, and you always write great articles. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving to our last little bit over here, we're going to jump onto our global settings. So these are the system basics. Okay. For global settings, so this essentially is the section, it's the profile for the entire company. You will see a lot of tabs in there, but the key things to add and to monitor and check and update as needed, they're going to be your general information, your address, and your locale. Now, the last one is going to be really for the time zone. This is the time zone for the company. Okay. You also have another tab in there for emails. Now, this is going to be setting your default values for first name, last name, or account merge tags. Merge tags are essentially short codes that pull whatever value is in those fields. That way, when you're sending out an email, you can say hi and pull in that person's name. But if they don't happen to have a value in the first name field, so it's blank, you get to choose what the default value is. So it doesn't look like hi, random space, and then like a comma. You could say like, hi, valued customer, whatever it might be that you decide to go with. So that's a handy feature as well. And then the last one is our form options. Now, this one just came out from our recent release. By default, as you guys know, Sugar Market automatically just deduplicates form submissions by email fields as that unique identifier. However, now you can dedupe form submissions using both the email and account name fields as unique identifiers by enabling this feature. Okay. So let me show you how you can go in there and do that. There we go. So again, we are going to go over to our user menu. Now there's two ways that you can access the global settings. You have obviously from the user menu, you can go to global settings right there. Okay, and you'll get there. And the other way is from the admin view. If you go to general, you're also going to see global settings there. So if you're already in this page and you just want to go to the global settings, you can definitely do that from there. It's going to take you to the same place. Okay. So again, you have multiple tabs in here. And again, we're only going to focus on 3 of them. The general one, this is going to be the general information for your company. Okay. So just make sure to go in there because this is also really helpful as it pulls that information into your emails. The address for you guys, it's going to be pulled into your emails. That way you don't have to type it up every single time. You can do that. And then the most important one is going to be your time zone. This is going to be not your individual time zone, but the time zone for the company. Okay. So make sure that you update that. Once you update that, you can go ahead and click that save button. The next one over is going to be your emails. Now, again, you have a lot of stuff in here. Main thing to really focus on is default value for first name, last name, or account name. In this example, we have valued customer. So if we were to send an email, it's going to be like, hi, valued customer. You can do like, hi, buddy, pal, whatever you'd like.
And that comes into play if the first name is blank. So if you're using that merge tag for first name, but the record doesn't have a first name, that's when this would come in.
So, yep. Some people also like to use account name. So if they don't have an account name or no company, the default, it's just going to appear as your company. So again, these merge tags will appear in there. The last thing, and James, I know you wanted to mention.
No, don't touch this.
Don't touch it.
Email compliance, essentially what it will do is if you put an email address into here, every single email that is sent out from Sugar Market, we will also send a copy of that email to the email address you put in here. Yes, it can be used for compliance purposes, so you can see every single email that has been sent, but that mailbox could obviously receive tens of thousands of emails on there. So, but essentially we are logging the email on the record anyway, so you're going to see the exact email that was sent out. Again, it's kind of a legacy feature that has been around for some time.
I do recommend caution with that email compliance
Yes.
setting because we have seen trouble with it. Customers will set it and then forget about it, and the mailbox will fill up and start bouncing, and then that contributes to bounces in your sending reputation. So typically, the only customers that should be using that email compliance are perhaps in the medical field or the financial field, where due to their certifications, they have to have an audit of all emails that go out of their system. So caution with that one.
So yeah, again, just focus on these 3. Don't look away from everything else. And then the last tab in here is going to be
it's very simple. New release.
Yep, new release. You just enable account name dedupe, and it's right there. If you're ever like, what in the world is this? It's right there. It's literally just, it's going to allow you to not only have the email as that unique identifier, but also the account name. So those are going to be.
Can I add how that's going to come into play is that if you have records with duplicate email addresses, when form submission comes in, those are generally linked up to existing records based on email address. What this option is going to help you with, I've been working with a customer recently where they intentionally have duplicate records because they'll have the same email address, but the individual works in different organizations. So this will allow them to have a form submission that will match up not only on the email address, but also on the company name. And so the form has to be mapped, I believe, to company. I might be misspeaking on that, on how the form mapping has to work, but that's how this will come into play.
Yeah, form mapping normally has to go to company.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Perfect. Thank you guys. Okay. We're getting closer to the end. Just a quick little recap, your tips for being a super user. As an admin, a super admin, obviously you have the ability to add users and roles. You have the power to provide people with access into the system or restrict their access in general. You can review certain areas. If you want to review additional, information, like I mentioned, obviously the unsubscribe, the bounced emails, they do appear in the individual email dashboards, but you do have access to the hubs of that information, the general hubs of that information. So if you want to go and check that out, you can certainly do that. You also have the power to update any CRM sync settings. If you need to update anything or edit, you can certainly do so. Not everybody gets access to that, so that is going to be your responsibility. And then you can always update the global settings, and again, make sure that you're keeping the company profile up to date for anything. And as you guys know, we do have resources available for you guys. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your Sugar Market consultant for help. We're more than happy to assist and answer any questions. You also have access to the Sugar Support, the knowledge base. If you have any questions, Sugar Club, where we have wonderful articles written by our team. And then we also have Sugar U. So those are the ones that we have. Any questions or anything of that sort? I know that this is not the most exciting creating session, but
We tried to make it exciting. I don't know what you want to do, put some music on or anything.
know, we wanted to have fireworks and everything. I know it's not exciting, but it is useful to know.
It is, yeah, it is kind of tips and user tips and tricks for being an admin in Sugar Market, what you can see and use around the administration area. Yeah, it's not all the fancy building emails and landing pages and forms, but it is essential for day-to-day use of the platform.
Yeah, I think we only had one question. I think you
another one with a question. Oh no, Lou. Hey Lou. Hope you're having a good day.
Thank you. But yeah, that was it. And we'll be back with you guys next month.
Can we add on one more thing?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm
Of
so
course you can.
No, Lynn, you can add everything. I don't. Yes.
could you go
Ruby's
back
trying
to
to
the
escape.
marketing admin page?
Yeah, give me a second. I live my life with multiple tabs. I'm sorry.
So do I. Marketing administration.
Okay, marketing administration. Here we go.
All right. So the one that I wanted to point out that comes in handy sometimes is that email validation, which is about halfway down the list. So you folks in who handle onboarding are probably fairly familiar with this email validation list. And correct me if I have any misunderstanding here, but this email validation list is used in onboarding so that if you have list of emails from, say, a prior marketing system that are invalid and that you don't want to market to, or during the data verification process during onboarding, we use a provider called Bright Verify that will verify the email addresses. And we do this in an effort to make sure that you have a good sending reputation and that you're not sending to invalid email addresses. But sometimes, a record will get added into the system and it's on this email validation list, and it's not necessarily obvious, from say the contact card or the lead card. So if you're trying to send to a particular email address and it's not going through, this would be the place to come and look, and it will give you can search by email address there, and it will give you an option to deactivate that setting in the email validation list, because the email validation list works rather like a suppression list. So any email address that is active on the email validation list will be excluded from marketing. So it can be a handy tool, but if you have any questions ever about an email address that doesn't seem to be getting your emails, by all means, open up a support case and we'll be happy to look into it for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, oh, I think we might have another. Oh, no. Oh, no, we do.
Yeah, I see Ivy's put a question in on here. So, yeah, so I don't know if you received the survey from us, Ivy.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what I would do is definitely complete the survey and add in any ideas you have as well regarding topics for us to use moving forward. So you want to make these topics for you, for the partners, for customers. You want to make it relevant to what you guys want to hear and see and using the platform. Otherwise, you leave it up to us guys to just sit and think, well, what do our customers want to hear month to month? And we'll come up with the topics and ideas. So yeah, please fill out that survey and add in those ideas in there. And then we can definitely look at putting when we move forward throughout the year, is look at those topics and getting them in play each month. But yeah, please provide as it helps us with ideas moving forward.
Yeah, if not, we're going to be sharing things that we think you guys want to learn, and it might be like this. It's not the most exciting, but but yes, please. And it takes
Maybe
not
like
even-
5 or 6 minutes.
yeah, to do that. And I know, Shara, you've added it to, and I have to click on this again.
Sugar Club
To Sugar
and,
Club.
and Sugar University.
So
If you want
yes.
to put it into can you put it into, there is no chat, is there? Is there a chat?
Can
I
I?
can put it in the, I can
Yeah,
put it in
just
the
copy the
Q&A.
URL. You can copy the URL and put it in Q&A.
Yeah. You have, if you copy
At
the
the
URL,
top.
yeah, the top.
Wait.
And then
Yeah.
you wait,
Oh,
and then
wait.
into the Q&A, and
Mhm.
then anybody can fill that out.
Okay, hold on. I'm going, guys. I'm
I'm
going.
waiting to get some random ideas for webinars. It's been really good.
There we go. So I went ahead and put that in there. So yes, please fill that out and let us know.
Awesome. Thanks, Bree. I mean, Very. I don't know why I wanted to call you Bree.
I do it as well, don't worry.
Does it all the time.
I call it brewery.
Brewery, yeah.
Brewery.
Ah,
I'm seeing Bree's name at the top of the attendees. That's why.
yeah, she just smiled because that happens way too often. But okay, well, thank you guys so much for your time. And have a great rest of your day.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. We'll send the
Thank you,
recording
everybody.
out later.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Shara. Take care.
Okay. Bye,
you.
everybody.